Welcome to TLC for the Soul podcast, where soul meets spirit. You have entered into sacred space. I'm your host, TAMI Chambers, and I'm here to help you shine. Now let's get going on this podcast journey. Hello, friends. Hello. And welcome to Bringers of the Light Sundays. Welcome, welcome, welcome in, everyone, as I am looking outside. It's very, very smoky. It smells like another big campfire, and it's the day before one of the most major full moons of the year. And Spirit has said they want to talk about second chances for the week ahead energies. So I feel like just diving right in as I wrap us all in love light and light love. Inviting in the guides who overlight TLC for the soul, Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, Pleiadians, and all of my TLC for the soul guides. And I did say that. I feel like just diving right in terms of the topic, second chances. So, I think this is going to be a week. Well, I posted on everybody welcome, you guys are always welcome. I would invite in my own spirit guides, though, for this discussion as well. Listening with your master senses, whether you've been here many, many years or whether you just got here today to the channel, welcome in. See if you vibe with our tribe. We've been around for quite some time. We write channeled fiction and nonfiction books, create oracle and one day tarot card decks. Got this channel with all this light language, all this stuff on it, all the healing, all the fun, all the audiobooks. We're on all major podcast providers. If you're on Spotify and I'm talking about playlists, you'll find all the playlists under my TLC for the Soul channel, as well as on YouTube. Many, many playlists, many shows, almost 800 shows now. Many of them timeless. And I do see people are playing around with the channel. When I look at the analytics, if you need a message, you need some guidance, you need some healing, you need some divine assistance, use the channel as you would, an oracle deck or something. Asks, call in your guides, ask for assistance. Go to the videos list or the playlist, kind of close your eyes, put your finger down, and you will get the message or the guidance or the healing or the wisdom that you need in this now. So I want to thank everybody so much for joining me here on the community post, which is not called community posts anymore on YouTube. I think it's just called posts. So if you go to TLC for the Soul, the home page of my channel, across the top you'll see home videos. There's playlists, there's lives, which I really don't do lives. But kind of towards the very end, there's one called posts now. And anytime I see something relevant from another creator, I put it there. But I put, I think, 2 there today, one from Michelle Knight and one from Molly McCord, about this week's astrology, starting tomorrow with the thing I've already talked about. The guys have already brought this in last week, and we said, we can't wait to come next Sunday, and we're going to be in the middle of it all. This Aquarius super full moon with 2 big daddy T-squares and a yod, finger of God, pressing the... I see it. When I hear these astrology terms, the sacred geometry terms in astrology, not an astrologer. I did okay in geometry in school, but I see them more. I get more of a oracle, a visual of what the astronomy, the sacred astrology, sacred geometry, and all that is doing in the skies when I hear the astrologers talk about it. And for these 2 T-squares with this finger of God yod and this super full moon, I see the finger of God, the yod energy, as this giant like finger of God basically pressing the full moon as like a button that then radiates all this energy out to activate these T-squares that are happening, that are almost every planet is kind of included in this astrology for tomorrow. And this is timeless whenever you listen to it. This is going to hold the energy of this event. But I feel too, I keep calling it an event. Not like the flash in the sky or whatever that some people talk about, but this is like a major turning point event in the world, in your life. Some more than others are saying. Some people have been working towards this moment for a really long time, and we don't want to belabor this discussion either, because for 2 or 3 shows now we've been talking about this as well, all going back to the August energy hangout, which if you haven't heard that, you can go back and listen to it. But the event is either the event of this energy happening the way it's going to happen, and the astrology tomorrow is either propelling you towards it's all propelling you towards your greatest dreams and desires, but some people have already done all the work to get to that point, and so that you're ready for your rewards. Other people, maybe some of you are here, maybe not, maybe more so they're saying listening are on the reward receiving end of it than just starting out. But many people in the collective and the collective energy of the planet, everything's ebbs and flows. And so you could see that many people are then going to be starting a spiritual journey, fool's journey, shaman's death, the dark night of the soul journey as well. Come this energy that starts tomorrow. And, however long it lasts for people is based on their own, karma and their own destiny. Maybe their dark night of the soul is a couple months long, whereas, some of us had I don't want to call it all a dark night of the soul, but some of us had to do a lot of healing work, many, many, many years of healing work to be able to receive these rewards. And spirits like you are seen, and you are cherished, and you are acknowledged, and you're going to be greatly rewarded for all the work that you did, no matter how long it took you, right? Because it was part of your journey, your path, and something you chose to do before you incarnated. So it could have just been something, relatively seemingly small. They're saying it could have been something relatively seemingly small to other people, but to you it was a really big deal. And whether it took, 2 months or 10 years or whatever, it was your journey. And so of course it's going to feel like, wow, they're using big words. I don't even know, what does magnanimous mean? Magnanimous to you, when they give me some of these they like to give me these. I used to like to do spelling bees back in my day when I was younger. Magnanimous, oh my gosh. Generous or forgiving, especially toward a rival or less powerful person. She should be magnanimous in victory. What is a magnanimous person? A person can show that oversized. Magnanimous comes from the Latin magnus, great, and animus, soul. So it literally describes someone who is big-hearted or great soul. A person can show that oversized spirit by being noble or brave, or by easily forgiving others and not showing resentment. Interesting. Well, magnanimous then. And so what does that mean then in terms of, forget the length of the whole darn thing, right? It's the point is, now we're here, and I do kind of feel like we get to these points. No, I'm not going to say that, because we've been building up to this moment. And if I go back to that, I should have probably done a video, because I'm always talking about measuring chakras. But chakras on people who were your rewards are coming in have continued to expand to like so big. I periodically check people, not really anybody here, but like personally, like people I know are part of this, of my own personal journey. Like I've been checking their chakras, and I'm like, oh my word, myself included. Like whenever something really majorly good is going to happen in your life, your root chakra expands to many times its default size. And you just have to put yourself in front of yourself like a little person, like a little mannequin, in your mind's eye. See yourself in front of yourself, and just, take your hands. And some people have to brush them off a couple times and press the palms or whatever if you're not familiar with feeling energy. But then just go up to kind of put your hands, palms facing each other, and go up to your crown chakra, and you just kind of work your hands in until you feel like a pressure or a pushback. And you can say like the size of my crown chakra, the size of my heart chakra. You can do it for all your chakras. Then you can say like the size of my root chakra. And you just work your hands in. Now for these root chakras that are ginormously large, there's 2 or 3 people right now that I'm kind of tracking that are in my personal world. And I mean, our chakras, our root chakras are like, I can't even measure them with my hands. I have to tell Spirit, like, put myself in front of myself, and I go, Spirit, show me where the root chakra ends. And it's like 3 rooms away. It's like almost as big as a house. So, those people, so if that's you, so if you try this little experiment and that's you, something really, really, really big and majorly good is coming. Big rewards, big rewards. And I kind of tested this too with, am I getting off track? No, they're saying all this well, because I'm like, I feel like I've talked about this before. But I tested this before, like when, I went back in time. I didn't know it at the time, but I was like, okay, let me go back to a point in time of my life where I now know was like a downturning time. And what was the size of my root chakra then? And it's like, oh, my hand, it was so small, my hands almost touched together. And it was like, when you're going to go through a really big downturn in your life, your root chakra will get really, really small. So I'm watching us because I'm like, when does the energy, first I wanted to know, when does the energy of this whole T-squared finger of God full moon thing kick in? Because the full moon is exact, I think it's tomorrow afternoon here. I'm in Central Time Zone in the U.S. It's like 1:30 or something. And I was like, is it at that exact culmination of the full moon? And Spirit's like, no, it's the entire day. Like it just starts on Monday. The 19th. So I was like, okay. And then I kind of wondered, like, well, when the root chakra will go back to its default size once the big thing has happened, once the reward has happened. So I wanted to know, like, we're stepping on this new destined life streams for many of us. New destined life streams. They're saying we're getting to the whole second chances thing. So this seems to be more of a talk about what's going to happen with the energy than it does me reading from a book. But I'll just let this go on for a little bit. How much have we been talking? Yeah, let me just go on for this little bit more and then see if there's anything more they want me to say about this. Because I do feel like, again, this is parrot guidance. And I feel like we've talked about this quite a few times. So the fact that they're bringing it back again, first of all, it's Mercury retrograde. And I feel like I've been doing everything twice. I have to do everything like twice. I don't know what's up with that. Well, I do kind of know what's up with that, but I'm like, I go to do something and I'm like, oh, and then I have to like do it again. Like redos, the second chances stuff. But destined life streams, although it could be like a live stream if you're live, right? Destined life streams have been created with the energies of this whole event that I'm talking about for tomorrow. For those of you that have been waiting for a really long time for something to pop off, and I constantly am saying it, right? Like something's about to pop off. I feel like all year during big events like the eclipses and stuff, I'm like, something's going to pop off, and then like personally nothing happened. And so I'm like, what does it suck through that? Well, their Spirit's like, well, you're not just talking to yourself. You're talking to a lot of people. And so stuff was popping off for other people and not you. Which is, yes, that makes total sense. But okay now. Oh, hey. No, you don't see anything. There's a lot of horses across the street right now. Let me see. No. Don't be snarky because you're going to have to leave. I'm talking on my thing. Psst. Hey, you heard me. Don't bark or you're going to leave the room. You're just looking at me with the funniest face right now, like, huh? it took the energy of every kind of special astrological event this year to create some of these new life streams for some of us. They're really big and they're really high vibe and they're really like rewards included. And in order to be able to align to them, we had to continue to upgrade our chakras and our light bodies. So every time there was an eclipse, every time there was a supermoon, every time there was like some major event, it was preparing you to be able to have this expansion, because this is a big expansion energy coming in for you. So what we've been doing up until now, what I've been wondering about is like, when does the chakra go back to its default size? And it's like the life stream is already going to be there starting tomorrow. The live stream really has already been created. So I see these as like, not really like wormholes, but like a ribbon of energy that you kind of like when you, maybe not everybody watches Doctor Who, but when you watch Doctor Who, or when you watch like somebody like time traveling, and they go through like these energy bands or energy streams, or you see like a line of like, bright light or whatever, and they're like riding that, or like the TARDIS and stuff. That's kind of how I see these life streams. And it's like the life stream is already out there. They've already been created, that Spirit said, as of the 8/8 Lionsgate. But this whole event, this yod, super full moon, push button to the T-squares, is activating those life streams. And that's what then is going to bring in all these momentous moments and rewards. So it could be one area of your life. It could be many areas of your life. Anywhere where you've felt downtrodden, anywhere where you felt like something was taken away from you that was outside of your control, anywhere where you felt like, you had to work really hard and you didn't see any rewards in the physical world, that's all what's coming back to you now with this second chance timeline, this second chance energy stream. This is a time for you to expand, no matter, what area of your life. And some of us, it's many areas of our lives, some of us prior to incarnating, gave up a certain chunk of our life to be able to do a lot of clearing and healing work. And it's not like it was never going to then be rewarded. The work has been completed, and we've been given many accolades from Spirit about this work being completed. And now, yay, finally, we get to now move forward and begin to see the fruits of our labors come into harvest. I think it is really, really nice too for those of you, myself included, who like to, who really follow, the nature wheel of the year or whatever. This is harvest season in the northern hemisphere, and in the southern hemisphere, it mirrors back in other ways. Spring and renewal. This is harvest/renewal time. And so I was like, if it was the perfect time for anything to happen for anybody, be so nice. I always think about this. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so nice to have these things happen during like our favorite season, my favorite season of the year is this autumn. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it would be great to have all these things come in during the autumn season. It would just be so awesome. So let's see what's happening here with this second chances. What do you want me to read from a book? Let's see. Let's get a page out of, we're going to go back to Pumpkin Pie Latte. This is my book. This is the very first book in the Bringers of the Light series. Last week, they guided us in that we were reading from the very last chapter. But I'm going to go in and let's see. This was Pumpkin Pie Latte. All right, so they want me to read from this side. And let's see, 1, 2. What is that? Oh, interesting. Okay, so the way I do this is I don't have the physical book of that book yet. And if you're new here, I write channeled fiction, nonfiction. All my ebooks are free to read. We're working right now on The Stallion Returns as an audiobook and healing book series. And I don't even know what to say about that. The whole as second chances, I've decided to re-channel the whole ending of that book. So many of you have been following that. Quite a few people have been listening to it. Have been a little saucy along the way. We've done some major healing work with The Stallion Returns, but we were up to recording the final chapters of the book, and I pulled the book out yesterday because I remembered channeling it, and I was like, what in the world was the ending was just so bizarre. I never really got it right. And I was like, and Spirit was like, just put the book out there and just deal with it later. And I was like, okay, so I just published it. But I always had wanted to come back to it and look at it again. And when I read it yesterday, I was like, this makes absolutely no sense whatsoever to me, why these things are happening the way they're happening. So think of this, all of this, what I'm saying here is a metaphor for what could be going on or what could have happened in your world. But and I'm looking at this chapter I'm about to read here. I'm not exactly sure what it's about from Pumpkin Pie Latte, but The Stallion Returns, the last 3 or 4 chapters is just like so bizarre. The ending is just like what and who and huh. And so I said, I always trust my guidance, and I trust even a channeling like that. I don't change plots in books because somebody says like, oh, that's boring or that should be different or whatever. And that's why I do all my, like right now, I'm doing all my own editing and everything too. So you may find some weird edits or whatever. And, I wish I could just make them, what is that? The free open source or whatever. And you just go in and fix those edits yourself. But The Stallion Returns was like it's a hot mess of a book. In more ways than one. It's a very hot mess. But there was like a duplicate chapter in there, and the ending's just so bizarre. And I know why I had to put it out there like that. And I'm not going to go into that now. But now I'm like, okay, I feel like I really want to do The Stallion Returns and my friends at Thunder Rose Ranch just do justice and give them all a second chance to have a better ending to that story. So I'm going to rechannel the chapters to that, and we're going to continue to work through the audiobook together. It's on YouTube and the podcast. There is a playlist for all my audiobooks on Spotify and on YouTube. But this one, if you're following that story, and maybe some of you downloaded the ebook to follow along, it was just like, what in the world's going on here? We're going to completely redo the last 4 or 5 chapters. So we're going to work on that together. Oh my goodness. So what we're going to do now though, is we're going to read from the very first Bringers of the Light book, Pumpkin Pie Latte. Abigail Smile is the girl that started, the little witch that started this whole series back in October of, oh my gosh, I don't even remember now when I started writing Abigail Smile. 2019, I think? I don't even remember, but anyway. I don't have the physical book, but I have all the manuscripts electronically, and so I just went into the manuscript, and I just kind of closed my eyes and put my finger down. And so for right now, we're going to be reading this chapter 11, which is all about balance, second chances. 11 equals the 2, 1 plus 1, right? The chapter is called The Great Knowing. And as always, when we read these, I just have you listen with your master senses. We're going to read it, and then I'll pull out any metaphors as it applies to what we're talking about here with this, grand event and all this stuff going on with the astrology and anything else Spirit might want us to know about the week ahead. I guess we could pull a card too. But this is The Great Knowing, chapter 11. Now, as Abigail sat in her mother's wingback chair, receiving guidance to go to the water, on the other side of town, Count Mashar was receiving his own guidance. He's our bad guy in this one. He was to go down to the pier by the harbor and look for a girl with light pink hair. He was to approach the girl and offer his assistance and nothing more. The rest would be handled by his guides after he had made contact. Now, reader, you may be wondering why dastardly old Count Machar was being directed to meet our beautiful Abigail Smile at the shore. And for this we must say that you will simply have to be patient and wait. For as we foretold in the beginning of this missive, there is magic afoot this month of October in Rockaway Point. And for the story to continue, you are being asked to surrender and believe. Now as you relax into the knowing that all may not be as it seems, we will allow Abigail to rise up from her wingback chair and make haste to the shoreline. As the lady in waiting, she is still unsure why she is being called here, and it is with blind but complete trust and faith in her guides and the universe that she quietly put on her coat and wool cap and stepped out the front door of Crust, that's her bakery. In her bag she had the magical potion, How to Thwart the Devil, safe inside its leather pouch. The incantation and spell at the ready to do the bidding of a higher calling of the light. And Abigail had, unbeknownst to us, been fully versed on what she was to do with a drop of this potion. She wasn't really thinking about that now. Her mind, with each step towards the shoreline, was intent on trying to discern who would be meeting her there. And as her leather boots made click-clack noises on the cobblestone pavement, she began to hear a voice speak to her heart. My love, oh my gosh, this is what we've been waiting for. She heard Dakar say, don't be afraid. Abigail had tears in her eyes at the sound of it. He really was okay. At least it seemed so. And as the time ticked slowly towards the big hand in the east and the little hand in the west, Abigail smiled to herself. They were actually doing this, and in doing so would win the book back as well as save Dakar. The ball was in her court now, and she was running with it. She had everything she needed now, and more, for in the arms of her consort, with magical spell in hand, she was ready to face dark forces. And she can and would win, because loves, the light always does win. Oh gosh, that's so good. I mean, it's so pertinent to what we've just been talking about. Man, I mean, it's all about your ascension, your rising up in frequency and vibration. For anybody who is calling in a soul partner, a divine counterpart, whatever label you want to put on it, a soulmate, a twin flame. It sounds like this has been much of a in the ethers type of relationship until now. Just based on this chapter, Abigail and Dakar, no, they were together in the physical. But the way I read this is kind of like Dakar, like calling to Abigail from beyond the beyond. Like the way he even says, like, everything's going to be okay. My love, this is what we've been waiting for. Don't be afraid. And then the time's ticking slowly towards the big hand in the east and the big hand in the east and the little hand in the west. That would make it 9:15. The little hand of the clock would be on the 9, right? Am I reading this correctly? And the big hand, yeah. The big hand in the east would be on the 3, which would be 9:15. So 9:15 is a little less than a month from now. And they're saying that all is going to be sorted by then. Spirit's saying all is going to be sorted by that time. Sorted. What does that even mean? When I hear sorted, it's making me think of like the sorting hat from Harry Potter. Gryffindor, Slytherin. Maybe you're changing houses. Maybe you're changing houses. Did we ever have anybody in Potter World change from one house to the other? I don't know. I don't remember. I didn't think so. So some of you could be moving. Some of you could be, it sounds like it's any number of things. Because this is everything we've been waiting for. And they're still bringers of the light. And we've got Abigail going by herself to meet Count Mashar. She doesn't, I don't know if she knows she's meeting Count Mashar, but she says with blind but complete trust and faith in her guides and the universe, she quietly puts on her coat and wool cap and steps out the front door. Abigail. The ball was in her court now, and she was running with it. She had everything she needed now and more. Anybody who's calling in a divine soul partnership, be it a romance or elsewise, I think those are all these things you've been wanting that have been put off from you for other reasons, so that you could focus solely on your work, your soul work, and get that done so that you could go back to the freedom. There's a big freedom codes component about this event happening in this astrology too, freeing you from the binds that have kept you where you are. And you have to be able to kind of rise above 3D constructs to kind of really dive into the metaphors that are coming up here, which many of you I know are able to do that. But it's like you weren't just, stuck. So many things, right? You weren't just stuck somewhere. You were doing your, I'm getting so many chills for that. You were doing your soul work. And you weren't just, stuck with a karmic partner or a catalyst or a, false twin flame, all these things. You weren't just stuck. You were doing your soul work that you had to do to get to this moment. And I'm seeing these really interesting narratives play out with some of the YouTube creators that I follow as well. And it's just so interesting to see these things kind of falling into place for higher vibe, higher frequency timelines, life paths or life streams, relationships, and everything playing out for people right now. Some people had to wait longer than others. Why? Well, they're saying everything's staggered for a reason. Not everybody has their big moment happen all at the same time. So, for those of us that had to wait longer, well, part of that is you came here to learn about being patient, that you couldn't just swoosh your hand and, sweep your floor. We did the reading. We did the last chapter of The Astounding Returns. We're talking about telekinesis and the stigmata. But, where you wish you could just swish your hand and sweep your floor, whatever, from the comfort of your armchair, or, pick up your hand and allow your bottle of water to float over to you. And it's like you came here to be a 3D girl or guy in a 3D world. And, you have to kind of live the 3D life. And you were living your 3D life, but that's what it looked like to everybody else, that you were living your 3D life. And who knows what everybody's opinions were, right? Oh, Dark Night of the Soul, she's a flake. There are quite a few people that told me, as I started through this shaman's death, that I was a flake and, I was like the devil incarnate and, the work that I was doing was just wrong and that I had to actually delete my whole website and start over again and make it God-friendly and all this. I've had so much interesting feedback. From people who had no idea, right? Because they were so 3D and they weren't on a spiritual path and they just thought, they just look from a certain perspective, but they don't have the higher knowledge that you've had going through this journey on your own. So I have a feeling that everybody listening has had that somebody or somebodies around them who was you started down the fool's journey or the, spirit path, the spiritual path or whatever, and they just thought you were bonkers. Why would you why would you up sticks and, quit everything and throw everything to the wind? And you're like, I don't know. Spirit just told me I was supposed to do this. I don't, at the time, even I wasn't even sure why, right? I just did it because in my heart, I felt like it was what I was supposed to do. And there were many times I felt like I was being, I'm telling a lot of this, like my story, but I feeling like you're going to relate to it in your story too. But I felt like many times I was being pushed to do things that if I hadn't been on a spiritual journey, I never would have done those things. I would have been like, you're freaking crazy. So even just to up sticks and quit the corporate world, I've been in my corporate job for almost 20, I was there for 23 years when I left. But I had been in another corporate job before that. And, leave the safety, the sanctity of the corporate world, where, I used to love it there too, like where everything was taken care of for you. You always had like your same paycheck. You had like, the company I worked for had amazing bonuses, an amazing retirement plan. And when I got like parent guidance, it took a long time for me to listen to the parent guidance about leaving corporate. A long time before I got up the courage to actually do it, because I was super concerned about doing it. And I finally could no longer ignore the signs that I was supposed to do that. And if I hadn't have done that, I'd still be there, and I probably would not be where I'm at today. So kudos to all of you for having the courage to do whatever it was you had to do to step out of 3D norms, step out of the matrix, and take that leap of faith to be where you're at now. And now you're gonna realize that it all was not for naught, and I think all the people who thought you were like a crazy idiot are going to be like, finally you'll get your recompense. I mean, finally you'll get your like, ha, I knew this was, I knew there was some end goal to this all along. I think in your spiritual growth, like you can't really show that to people who aren't on the spiritual path. I mean, it means nothing to them to say like, I cleared all my karma, and I've done all this soul work. It's like, what, it's just like the parents when the Snoopy Peanuts people talk on the phone, right? And they just hear like, wah, 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 wah. Like it just goes right over their head. But for you, like, you're like, oh my God, this is momentous. This is, stupendous, whatever. Clearing all your freaking karma. Do you realize what that means? Or whatever it is you had to do. I get stuck on the karma one because I worked a really long time I came and I said I was going to clear all my karma from past life and this life. In 2018, I said that. And so it's taken me this many years to do it and be complete with that. So for me, that's a very big deal. But if I told other people that, they'd be like, people that aren't on the spiritual path, they would not get it, right? They only see like 3D results or what speaks to 3D people, right? So you could be the exact same looking. Well, I think I look a lot better now, right? I'm kind of tired. I'm kind of kind of ripped now. No, I don't know where that's going on. Who am I channeling there? I don't know. But anyway, it's like they only see 3D results, right? So your spiritual growth, it's going to be like, she looks exactly the same. Got a few more gray hairs or whatever. But when you start to reap the 3D physical rewards that you've been wanting to have for so long, the upgraded person or the upgraded lifestyle or the fame or the fortune, whatever it is that you've been wanting, that's when those people are going to be like, oh, what the heck just happened to, that person? All of a sudden they're like, living a good life, or they're upgraded, or they look really great, or they're shining, or they're this, that, and the other. And they still won't get the complete magical picture of what it took to get to this moment. They'll still really just see it from the 3D life, like, I must have gotten lucky or whatever. Oh, why does it always happen to that person or that? There'll be a lot of those people too, the jealous people, like, oh, why that person and not me? I'm doing my soul work, or I'm godly and this, that, and the other. And it's like, if you only knew, everything that goes into being able to be in these types of moments, where you're being rewarded for a job well done. I mean, you have to be able to see from like the bird's eye view down look at the karma, look at the dharma. I keep saying it's your karma, it's your dharma, be the light. Like, look at your karma. What's your karmic bank look like? How's it? Is it pretty healthy? Have you been doing service work? Have you been, what have you been doing? What's your dharma look like? What did you come here for? Maybe you're living out some dharmic. We don't know, right? That's another reason we shouldn't be judging anybody, because we do not know. We could go look, like you could look, like if you're really intuitive, yeah, I got those powers, right? I got some of those powers now, but I don't just go reading everybody's energy, unless I need to. That's too taxing on the light body. But why it came. So am I rambling? I don't know. I just think it's fascinating. This journey has been fascinating, and it hasn't been easy, and it has been very, very long. And every time I'm like, you guys up there, if you only knew what it's like to wait for so long for something, I don't know if you would make people wait this long. Yeah, sure, 5-10 years is like a blip in the overall span of whatever, a soul's journey or whatever. But oh my word, sometimes the tenuousness, I don't even know if that's a word, the tediousness of a 3D day sometimes, like the Groundhog Day kind of thing. Like, okay, I'm going to get up again and I'm going to do my spiritual practice, and I'm still waiting, Holy smokes. I don't think that is just being able to be patient. I don't know. I keep asking, like, why is this such a big life lesson? Why is being patient so important? I don't get it. I'm still not sure I completely understand why it's such a big, important soul lesson. Other than, what are they saying? They're saying it brings patience, brings balance to the soul. Patience brings balance to the karma and the dharma. All right. Well, okay. I might have to ponder that a little bit more. But, yeah, I just want to thank you for playing with spiritual concepts with me too. I like to dive deep sometimes into the spiritual technology of things. And this has been a fascinating ride through, especially this past year, watching this whole process play out. When you hear like your guides say, trust the process. And I keep saying, like, what is the process? I don't think I understand what it is. And they're like, you will live it, and then you will know it, and then you can teach it to others. And I still don't have it completely yet. They're saying there's just a little bit more for me to understand, and then I'm going to be able to draw you a really good diagram of what this trust the process is all about. Like, what happens in the spiritual world before you can come into your full radiance, your full power, your full manifestation of something. So I feel like we'll be looking at manifestation from a much even higher viewpoint than what some of our other teachers are doing as well. We'll be able to bring more of a spiritual technology component into some of those concepts, which sometimes, like I told you, I feel like are a little bit ambiguous, like the trust the process and the, why is it I'm supposed to go away and forget about my manifestation? Like, why? I don't like that, being told to kind of do something without really understanding why I'm doing it. So whenever I would hear the law of attraction stuff, any of them, like even Abraham, I love Abraham and Esther Hicks, but anytime I hear any of those, like, well, you just have to go away and forget about it and, don't think about it and go focus on something else. It's like, but I want to know why I have to do that. What's happening that's making me have to do that? That's what I want to be able to teach, because I think the knowledge is power. And I think, yeah, it's part of the journey to just do it and see that it happens. But, I want to be able to teach others like this other way of doing it, which to me then helps you be patient. It helps with having patience that something might be taking longer than normal, rather than this ambiguous, like, well, there's this big finger of God in the sky that has to push a button, that's some sort of metaphor. Like, we can give you some real life examples and things to be looking out for and things to be aware of on this path to some of these bigger manifestations. No, this isn't like I want a fork versus a spoon and there's no forks. Although because they're saying it could be, we could start small like that. But these are the bigger ones, like I want to be successful. I want to be famous. I want to have the love of my life. We're going to be able to, that's where I think Bringers to the Light and TLC for the Soul is going to be going. We're going to be able to give you like the nuts and bolts, the construction blueprint behind manifesting what you want from a perspective that's, number one, I have living through it, and number two, just a fresh set of ideas on how this whole process works. So anyway, I think we're going to go ahead and leave it at that. No, this is a special week ahead. We have another 888 day coming up on August 22nd. It's not 888. It's 8. No, it's not 888. It's 8228 day. Which, if you're trying to manifest a partner, that might be a significant turning point, because 222 is all about being divinely aligned. An 8 month and an 8 year, 8228. It's a very aligned day for manifesting relationships. So be on the lookout between like now and 8228 and beyond for some of you. And it'll all be wrapped up by the 9:15. They're just saying that is so, and that's all they're going to say about that for now. Okay. So for the next month or so, we'll see if they bring more of that into future conversations. So that is all we have for you now, my friends. I want to thank you as I kind of went deep into these topics, and I will thank you for being here, and we will see you all again soon. Take care.
This episode has been brought to you by Frolicking Fraulein. Interactions with Frolicking Fraulein could bring on magical, mystical euphoria, dizziness, lightheadedness, sudden feelings of losing all sense of 3D reality.
Oh no, someone's been a naughty Frolicking Fraulein.